going to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods, Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Thursday, January 13th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. For the first time in a while, we're leading off the show with some COVID news that could have a potential impact on the Arnold Classic in a few weeks, following Terrence Ruffin's announcement that he tested positive for the virus a few days ago. Now, just so we're all clear here, this isn't a referendum on COVID or vaccines or anything like that of that nature. All we're saying is that your reigning and defending champion has tested positive for COVID, and the potential exists that this will impact his prep for the show. Up to this point, we haven't heard anything about Terrence pulling out or being seriously ill, which is the most important takeaway here. And with that being said, if we see this starting to happen more as we get closer to the show, the potential impact is a lot larger here. So let's all cross our fingers and hope this isn't the case. Depending on who you ask, there are a handful of people out there who think that we're going to see some movement in the 212 division this year. And if that ends up being the case, what do you think the odds are that Austin Karr is a big part of that process? Earlier this week, Austin's camp released his first official off-season update that showed him looking lean and mean at 248 pounds. All things considered, this is probably the best that we've seen Austin look at this weight. And the feedback we're getting from his camp is that their goal is to bring him in at his all-time best this year, regardless of wherever things fall on the scale. In the past, we've seen Austin give a few of the top guys in the 212 division all they can handle. So if he can manage to suck down enough to make weight, he's going to give some people some serious problems. I have 2 fun-filled facts for you that are going to blow your mind. First, in the 2021 season, Ashley Kaltwasser won 8 contests, which now stands as an all-time high mark in the division. And second, the last time that she won the Arnold Classic, Barack Obama was still in office. Believe it or not, despite all the shows she's won over the last 5 or 6 years, the Arnold Classic hasn't been one of them because she hasn't actually won there since way back in 2016. And even though this year's lineup is probably the deepest it's ever been on paper, if there was one person in the division who you'd bet on to win 2 Arnold titles in 2 different presidential administrations, wouldn't it be her? If you're over 35, you probably remember those old E.F. Hutton commercials. And if you're under 35, you probably don't get the reference. So just YouTube it after the show, because for this purpose of the segment, Nick Walker is E.F. Hutton. And when he speaks on Fouad Abiad's podcast, people should listen. In case you missed it, Nick was on the Bro Chat podcast and he said that he thought Steve Kuclo had a chance to win the Arnold Classic this year if he came in at 100%. And a lot of people thought that it was an interesting take considering some of the other names that are in this lineup. One of the things to consider here is Nick's track record, because more often than not, he's right with his bold predictions, especially when it comes to himself. So here's my question to you. Is Nick Walker right? Do you see Steve Kuclo as a legitimate threat to win the Arnold Classic this year? Drop us a line in the comments below and let us know what you think. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.